me do my best to make this clean and neat as much as we can. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then let's see here. Let's go. All right, so here's your triangle. And we'll call this A, B, C. So it's much like the one that you were given on this exam. So you got triangle ABC, and you want to dilate. I guess the first thing it's going to ask you to do is to dilate by a factor of 1/2. Okay. So what a dilate does is, let's just say you're given the ordered pair x comma y, whatever it is. You take 1/2 of each value.
All right.
All right. So let's say, and we got the first ordered pair here, 0, 0. So what's 1/2 of 0?
Negative 0.5.
0, 0. Half of nothing, like
half of nothing is nothing.
Is still nothing. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And then so that's A. B is all the way up here at 0, 6. So what is half of each of those?
0 and 3.
0 and 3. Okay, so let me do that here. 0 and 3. And then point C is at the point 4, 2. Okay.
So
and
then 2 and 1.
2 and 1. Great. So now we graph the new points here. I can do that pretty quickly here with this. So the A is still there. There's B, and there's C. So that's A prime, B prime, and C prime. Okay. So now the next part of the question is to reflect over the x-axis, or maybe y-axis. We'll do both. Let me see if I can get where I can get this to come down. Okay. So let me paste this in. Let me see if I can get this to be just a little cleaner. Right there-ish. Good. Okay. All right. So now let me get rid of that image. Get rid of that. Let me get rid of that. That and that. Okay. So now let's say we wanted to reflect over the y-axis.
So would I like reflect it? Yeah.
So this is the mirror, and I mean I think that's a good. I mean we still look at the mirror ourselves in the mirror, our phones, whatever. If it's on there, it stays on there, but this point moves over there. So that's the y-axis reflection. Let's say we wanted an x-axis reflection. So this origin point stays there, but this B prime, it's going to be down here 3. And the C is going to be there. So this is the x-axis reflection.
So x-axis is like you just move it down the same length, and then y.
Oh, no. So it's a mirror. There's a mirror here. Okay, so let me give you a better example of that, because it does look like you just shifted it. So let me create another example here where you see that. Okay, so let me create an image here. Okay, and here's the XY axis. Okay. All right, so this is the image we're going to reflect over the let me do it with the x-axis first. So I use green here, so let's do an x-axis. So you literally like grab that corner, you're like, how far away from that is it from the x-axis? Well, it's 1 away. Do you see that?
And then
this is 2 away.
1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you connect it.
All right.
So do you see? I mean, and do you see the flip there? It's a flip. It's a flip. I mean, it says reflect. It's not a translation. A translation is like a pushing or a pulling. It's like if you could see my hand, it's flipping back and forth, kind of thing.
I do see that.
You do see that? Okay.
The y, if it was the y for that, then it would be
let's do the y. So the y is, sorry about this. So the y, let me get to where I've got the right color. The y, so let's do it from the original here. So this, it's like, how far away is it? Well, it's there.
And then
And then this point you count, 1, 2, 3, 4,
I think like
5, 1, 2,
yeah,
3, 4, 5. Same thing with this one.
and then you just gotta draw it like that.
Yeah. And that's the y axis.
All right. So y goes like to the left or to the right, and then x goes up or down.
That's right.
All right, I'm gonna write that down. All right.
So
Sweet.
should we go to so that's part C is a translation that looks fine. Should we go to question 2,
Yeah.
or do you want more on this one?
Um, Here, wait, I'm gonna look at this one more time before. So it looks like what I messed up on for the graph is that I just originally it looks like I somehow like completely wrote it wrong.
So you went over the x-axis, which is fine. Select the triangle, and then your instructor just didn't like the wording you use here.
All right.
So
Is there another way you'd put like recommend for me to word it, you think?
yeah, so the like there's definitions for, like, when you go over the x-axis, it's if I give you a point, let me get the right color here. I'll do it in green here. If I give you an x comma y, okay, they end up having the same x, but you negate the y value. So you would want to simply say keep x comma negate the y value.
Okay. Keep.
And yeah, and this is the this is more important than that, is your instructor is not looking for a lot of words here. They're just grading this that you sent me. They're looking for these keywords. They're
Um,
remember, they're scanning 30 of these in your classroom, plus maybe another class, plus maybe they gave a test in all their classes. They're trying to do this quickly. So they're more is not better here. Less is more, if you've ever heard that. And they want to see, like, oh, same x negate the y, or same x opposite sign y. They're looking for that. They're not reading all this. And but as a student, you're like, hey, if I write more, maybe they'll catch something there that's correct. It's not the case. Now maybe you feel better because you did all this, and I'm not saying anything wrong. I'm saying that,
oh yeah.
just know that, like, that's what they're scanning for. So if you had written 4 words and they were wrong, it still would have been all wrong, even by writing 30.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
All right. So for like the tests, just really use the words.
Yeah, and if you don't know them, that's the issue. So I try to keep it really clear. Keep x or same x, negate y value, so on.
All right. I guess for it was a little bit weird for this test. Like there was a two-part thing, and
Mhm.
once I actually get the second part back, I'm definitely going to go over that because I think I did a
Sure.
pretty bad job on it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
okay.
So I definitely would want to go over that just so I get to know it, and then
Hmm.
also maybe like learn the words and stuff for it. It was also just a little bit annoying. We didn't get a study guide or anything for this.
Yeah,
So for the future, like if I ever get a study guide, like I'll definitely go over that with you for like words and stuff and just see if I understand all of it, I guess.
absolutely. So I'm seeing here on page 2, you did the tables correctly. You showed your work, which is great. And then part B, it was maybe something you've never seen before, not sure. Um, we can go
Uh,
through the last couple of parts of B on the table. If I
okay. Yeah, also for square root of 11, the square root of 11 is 3.3, right?
Well, so you did not have a calculator for that. Is that true?
I did not have it
Right.
calculated.
So here's a number line, and I'm gonna try to ignore the fact that there's a grid here. There's certain square roots that the square root of 1 is 1. You know that, actually, I will do it this way. So let me do it this way. The square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 9 is 3, and the square root of 16 is 4. Okay, so where does 11 fall? 11 falls between these two. So you know it's between 3 and 4.
Mhm.
So the question is it closer to 3 or is it closer to 4?
It's closer to 3.
So they're looking for, I mean, this is where it's tough. 3.2, 3.1, 3.3. I mean, sure, I guess. I don't really know because it's a tough one to do without like knowing your instructor to know what they're looking for. But here these would be okay. Wrong would be like 3.6, 3.7, 3.8, 3.9. These are all
So what
wrong
I
because
originally had was 3.9. So then that would just make it not correct.
and so do you see how like it's closer to square root of 9 than it is square root of 16?
Yeah, I remember I actually asked her in the quiz about that, and then I wasn't fully getting when she said that, but now that makes sense.
So this would be like the square root of 15 maybe because it's really close to 16. Do you
Yeah.
follow that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, this
Okay,
I
so,
can
let me give you another one here. What is the square root of 47? Go ahead and take a moment to see if you can figure that one out.
All right. I just need
To
to
one decimal place.
All right, so 6, 2, 36, and then 7 2's 7 7 or 7 squared. Or no,
So the square root of 49 is 7. So
yeah.
it can't be bigger than that. And the square root of 36 is 6.
All right.
So
Yes, I
what I'm
guess
basically asking is like which one is it closer
40,
to?
it's closer to 49, but it can't
Okay.
be 50, so it has to be 36.
So it's 6 point something, right? So like there's a lot of options here. It could be 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, all the way up to 0.9, which is reasonable given that it's closer to 49 than 36. Like it can't be 6.1. That's what I don't think is clear because 6.1, if you had to make a table, is like the square root of 37, square root of 38, square root of 39, square root of 40.
Okay, so you should look at each point as like a number.
More or less, yeah. And like eventually, I'm doing this in Reddit, I shouldn't. Let me like eventually you have to say, oh, square root 47 is closer to like 0.7, 0.8, 0.9. It's not close to the 0.1s.
Okay, so like it would make more sense if you keep it for one like that,
Yeah.
like above the 6 or 7.
Do you play sports? Do you play any sports?
I play tennis.
Play tennis. Great. So on the tennis court, there is a difference between being on, one side of the net and the other. Let's call that a net, right? So if you're standing here and someone asks you where you're standing, you don't tell them you're over here. You tell them, oh, I'm at the baseline or I'm at the net, right? So the square root of 36 is like being at the net. The square root of 49 is like being at the baseline. And if you were to tell someone I'm at the square root of 47, they would expect you to be closer to here than at the net.
Okay, that's actually like super helpful.
Okay, so square, you can think of whatever two numbers you're between, you have to pick like two places, and it's like, well, which one are you closer to? That's how you figure out which number it is.
All right. Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
So let me give you one more here.
All right.
What is the square root of 27?
All right, square root of 27. 6 squared, 5 squared. 5 squared is the closest. Or square root of 25.
So it's between the square root of 25 and the square root of 36. So this is 5 and this is 6. So I'm asking for a decimal approximation to it. And again, to use our tennis analogy, if you want, this is like you being at net, and this is like you being at the baseline.
So maybe something like 5.2 or?
Yes, that's great. Because I'm expecting you kind of there. Great. Is that kind of clear now?
Yeah, that's pretty clear now. It's just you
Okay.
gotta look at the point one is like it's moving up a number.
Right. So like if you said 5.1, 5.3, I'm okay with. There's a cutoff though. Like at some point I have to say no. 5.4 is more in the
It's
middle.
just too much.
Yeah. But it's kind of unfair to you, but that's the way it is. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I'm
life
sorry.
isn't.
All right, so let me just snip this in. This is where I was going to go next, but you tell me if this is what you actually want to work on.
All right.
Is this the next thing to look at, or is there something?
Um, I wouldn't mind looking at that just for like a little bit of a clear up, just on why it works.
Okay,
Because for the most part, like I understand most of it.
so
Like
you
all
understand that 2 to the power of 1 is 2, and 2 to the power of 2 is 2 times 2, which is 4, and 2 to the power of 3 which is 8, right?
Mhm.
So that's fine. So what is 2 to the fourth? Can you tell me that?
2 to the fourth is 16.
How about 2 to the fifth?
32.
So what are you doing each time?
You're just multiplying it by 2.
You're doubling or multiplying by 2. Good. Now let's go the other direction. So 2 to the fifth is 32. 2 to the fourth is 16. 2 cubed is 8. 2 squared is 4. 2 to the power 1 is 2. What are you doing each time?
You're making it like divided by 2, or like
Cutting
half.
in half, right? So does that pattern has to continue here. So 2 to the 0 is half of 2. What is half of 2?
1.
Okay. This pattern continues. What is half of 1?
Uh, 0.5.
0.5 or 1 half. What is half of 1 half?
Um, 0.25.
So you want to get better at being more comfortable with fractions. Like that's going to be preferred here. I know that in real life, we tend to err towards decimals, but in math classes, that is what they tend to gravitate for.
Okay, so I should use fractions instead of
As
decimals.
much as possible. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right. Now, do you see how the bottom number 2, 4, 2, and 4? What do you think the next bottom number is going to be?
Uh,
It's going to be 8. Do you see this pattern here
so
of,
whenever, oh, right, because when it's a negative, you can't like have it as a negative, so you have to put the 1 over it.
yes, exactly. So
Okay, so it's
that's what your
negative.
teacher was emphasizing here. So let's do a related one. Let's do a 3 to the power of x, and we're going to make a table here. And let's say that x, this is 3 to the x. Let's start with 3, 2, 1, 0, -1, -2, -3. So I want you to take 60 seconds here and see if you can figure this out in your own, please.
All right. All right, I think I got it.
Okay, so I'm going to fill in a few of these, and I want you to see that it's going down by division by 3 each time. So now, what is 1 divided by 3?
A third.
1/3. What is 1/3 divided by 3? It's 1/9. Do you see how this pattern with the 3 and the 9 continues? So this last one is 1 over what value?
Um, over 27.
Yeah, do you see how these pair up?
Yeah.
And
So
they
it's just
have to.
the same thing, but it's like a fraction.
Yes, yes.
So I'm just trying to look at this one part I was confused at. 3. So 0 will just be 1.
So there's a property here that any number to the power of 0 is 1.
Okay. I'm writing that down.
Okay. A value to a negative number is 1 over x to the n. So you are in pre-algebra? Forgive me, or algebra 1.
I just think normal algebra, like algebra 1.
Oh, you're dead. So you're not like they don't really call it anything. Okay. So this has not quite been covered in your class, as far as I would know. But these are
Yeah,
these are
that's,
these are
that's
exponent
what I
properties.
think that's familiar. Oh, hello.
I'm here. I'm here.
Oh,
So
okay. I didn't know.
where do you want to go from here?
Um,
I see question C, parts or page, maybe page 3, C.
so I guess for page 3, it just looks like the only reason why I got that wrong is just because for whatever reason I wrote like an equal sign right there. I don't know why I wrote an equal symbol.
I'm just looking it over here. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've looked at it and I actually wrote like we had to write a little like reflection.
I would recommend talking to your instructor and saying, "Hey, look, I understand that you marked this wrong, and I see that it is not wrong, but if you follow the work, Mr. Instructor, it looks pretty much correct, except for a stray mark that I made, and
Yeah.
and say, I mean, depending on how important this is to you to get a to
Yeah, this was like I was considering doing stuff like that, but she's definitely like I don't know, she's not a very like approachable a person. She doesn't really get technology. She's there, so
well, it you could think of it as a challenge and say, I'm gonna see if I can somehow overcome this challenging situation.
and just get it done.
Yeah, see if you want to do
Yeah.
that.
I don't
Um,
really know if like do you think that's still worth doing now? Because this test was like a little while back.
No, but in the future, if you feel like if you it's so instructors are very impressed when you go back to them and say, and you got to do it very carefully. You can't do it in a way where you're being difficult or mean or rude or any of that
Yeah.
stuff. You just got to say, look, I see that you marked this wrong. I've looked at it, like I see the mistake I made. It just feels like that maybe a lot of points were taken off here, and I don't know, could you just look at it one more time and see anything? And there's a way to do it where you're not really questioning them, and you're almost just saying like, just could you nicely just look at it one more time? Sometimes they
Yeah.
will, sometimes they won't, but you don't know until you go in there. And
Yeah, it's all part of the game.
it's all about the attitude you have as well. And you probably know this with your parents as well. When you're interacting with them, there's certain ways that you can interact and have a favorable outcome. And it's
Hmm.
kind of what we're talking about here. So
Yeah.
I don't see anything else on this quiz to look at. Do you have some other things you'd like us to work through? Um,
Uh,
is this all you need for today? Because we actually could just do a half-hour session.
um, honestly, we've just been doing a little bit of review for the past, well, just since school started, and it seems like like the entire grade, if not like schools, like kind of a year behind, if not two, just from the whole COVID thing. So, but
Sounds about right.
yeah, so we're gonna actually tomorrow we're starting our first unit,
Okay. Well, that
and
tells me there'll be a lot of stuff to look at next week. But if you don't
yeah,
have anything else, we've covered multiple examples of the ones that you were marked off for. So
mhm,
um, we'll get back to doing an hour, but this may be a good place for us to stop today.
yeah, because it's just there's nothing like too much yet, and then I feel like the I know definitely when I get the test back, like when she's done grading and hands it back to us, I definitely want to go over that with you since
Okay.
I really felt confused doing that.
Do you think that'll be sometime this week?
I'm assuming sometime this week. I'd be a little
Okay.
bit surprised.
Well, have your dad text me, and we'll just do a half hour to review that. I don't think a full hour is needed. I know you got a lesson scheduled for a week from Monday, but
Mhm.
um, we can just continue this lesson during that time.
All right, yeah. So I guess maybe I guess I'll get work starting pretty soon, like just from the unit thing that we can look over, and then the tests. So
Sounds good. If your dad has any questions or concerns, he can give me a call, but I'll send you the notes and the screen recording out shortly.
okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye now.
Yeah, you too. See ya.